Good morning, Gilzer National Area and friends. Happy Tuesday, August 16th to each and every one of you. So excited about our Google Hangout this morning. You're going to hear lots of amazing information, so hopefully you guys have notebooks by you because you're going to hear from Mary McIntosh about the book that we're reading, The Mary Kay Way, chapters 3 and 4. So Mary, we're going to start with you after recognition, and then we're going to go into our women who were at the Linda Toupin event, the Linda Toupin Bootcamp this past week, Wednesday and Thursday. Holy cow, such amounts of information. It's going to be amazing. So anyway, just some housekeeping. The cash giveaway. Some of you may or may not know about this. Lisa Madsen put together a cash giveaway years ago that culminates on December 5th, but you don't have to be in Wisconsin to be a part of the cash giveaway, okay? So what it is, it's under events on our app and on the Gilzer area website. But for $10 a consultant, they pay for themselves, they can enter their customers into the cash drawing. And last year, you guys, Brianna's people, they took home like $600. So we had over $5,000 in cash last year to give away. If you're in the Wisconsin area, Diane Menteply is actually the guest NSD who's coming that day. If you remember, it was Nikki had come at one time, and was that just last year? I can't even remember if that was just last year. But Diane Menteply is coming this time, and so we have training during the day for directors, and then consultants join us later in the afternoon, and then we have the guest event that night. So for $10, you guys, it's a hostess contest. And so when a person tries the product, they get a slip. So you have to cut out all these slips. It's like old school. And you're going to send those slips in for the cash giveaway. So they cut out the slips, and for one slip, I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I don't have the piece of paper in front of me. For trying the product, they get one entry. When they have a party, you guys, they get 5 entries for every person at their party. And so like Sue Ponko talked about at our director meeting, she hands out the slips to the hostess. She's like, oh my goodness, you get 25 entries into the cash giveaway. When they do listen to marketing and the director follows up with them, 5 more entries into the cash giveaway. All right, and so there's cash giveaways for those who are within an hour and a half of Madison, Wisconsin, but then there's other cash giveaways for out-of-town people. So if you're within an hour and a half, your customers want to come because they have more chances to win, okay, because there's drawings for the people at the event. If you're outside of an hour and a half, there's different drawings for you, but literally thousands of dollars. And consultants and directors, you can earn cash too. I think Trisha Bless earned cash last year. And so like for every order that you place, every $400 wholesale order that you place, every party that you have, every miracle set that you sell. So it's income producing activities that are going to get consultants and directors into it as well. So check it out. Check it out. It's under events on the Gilzer area app or the website, and you guys get the biggest bang for your buck. Like last night, Rachel Larson had 2 guests there from Kate Unger's unit. So Kate, you get to follow up with those people. Simply, it just gives you a reason to follow up because their name goes into the cash giveaway 5 times when a director follows up with them, okay? Sometimes consultants and us just need a reason to follow up with people, but real money is being given away. So I'm really going to encourage you, adoptees, anybody can do this across the country to be on this cash giveaway. The other thing I want to remind you of is registration for retreats, okay? Registration for retreats. Get your people excited. The goal is 10% of your units going to retreat. You guys, let's blow out our events this year, all right? And the other thing is that pace setters. I hope you have it on your calendar, okay? I hope you have it on your calendar. I want you to know that that pace setters is September, let's see, 12th, 19th and 26th. It will actually go from 7 to 8:30. I will be done by 8:30 Central Time, okay, just so that you can plan that. So you can start your success night or your gathering at your home at 6:30, and then we'll start right at 7, and then we will be done by 8:30, just so that you know that time frame. The cost is, again, $20. It's totally being revamped. I'm so excited about this Pacesetters. It's going to be powerful. You know that we got 2 directors last year, 2 directors who were in Pacesetters. And so you know what? Get your people involved in that. Mary McIntosh debuted at the beginning of the seminar year and was in that Pacesetters to win it. She was in it to win it, and great things happened. Also, Becky Clements was in the Pacesetters the second half of the year, also in it to win it. As I looked at our production, you guys, it dramatically went up in September and February while your people were working. So get excited, get your new people involved in it. It is great basic training, great basic training. All right, so now for some recognition for people with new unit members in the computer right now as of August 16th. Mary McIntosh unit has 1 new unit member. The Nikki Hill unit has 2 new unit members, one of them being her personal. Crystal Pounds has 2 new unit members, one of them being her personal. Remember, by the end of this month, be focused. What you focus on, you get. 4 personal qualifieds from July 1st through August 31st. Be a bulldog about being on target for the National Court of Sharing. If you are going to the retreat in Texas, you are going to get amazing recognition for being on target for both courts. So get excited about that, you guys. But more importantly, know what it's going to do for your business. When you make that decision to lead your unit with that kind of excellence, when you do whatever you can, isn't that what Christine talked about, our queen at the Diamond Seminar? At her training, you guys told me that she talked about, did you lead by example? That's the question. And when we do the double or triple court, we have led by example, okay? And so really be tracking your 4 qualifieds. The other thing I want you to be tracking are your 4 unit qualifieds for the month of August. Get the bonus, my friends. Get the $400 bonus, okay? It is so worth it. And then 10 new for this month. I'm just going to be a little bit transparent with you all right now, if that's okay, before we bring in our speakers. And we're all going to talk really fast, but I feel this is very important. If you are feeling frustrated in your business, if you are wondering and stressing about hitting production or hitting the $5,000 bonus every month, I know, I don't just think, I know with all my heart it is about unit size, okay? And I reached out to a national sales director and asked her to be on our Google Hangout next week because I'm feeling your frustration. I'm feeling your angst. I'm feeling your stress about just always stressing about where the production is going to come from. And you guys, as Linda Tupin talked about, you know what your unit's going to do. You know what your unit's going to do. You can look at your unit reports and you know what your unit is going to produce. Let's not pretend like they're going to produce more than they are, okay? And so it's going to be the new. But that's exciting if we grab hold of it. But you guys, if we go years and years and years with a unit size between 30 and 40, we are going to want to, as Diane Mentiply says, chew our arm off, okay? That's when this business is stressful, and I don't want you to be stressed. I want you to take the time to go and get new unit members, okay? So that you cannot be stressed about the end of the month. You might be shooting for a higher paycheck, but you're not stressed about whether you're getting a paycheck or not. That's not how I want you to live your Mary Kay career, okay? And then when you're not stressed about that, you can pass that on to other people. So what is it going to take today to get you past where you are? It's going to take focus. Okay, and getting through some tough times. But if you go through 30 to 90 days of really focusing, you guys, everything is going to change. But what happens is it's messy in the middle. It is messy in the middle. It is messy in the middle of your first power start and then your second power start, and it is painful. And you're looking at the numbers and you're like, nothing's happening. That's when most people quit. And that's when you got to dig in and get gritty and go, no. As Jamie Lopez says, how does a top director and how is a national going to get through this? They're not going to quit, even when it's painful, even the results aren't there, because I got to get through this, you guys. That's what you got to do, is get through the middle. The middle is messy, but the end result is worth it. All right, so personal 600s in, already earned the bracelet. Congratulations to Tammy Clout, Amanda Collins, Trisha Bless, and Nikki Hill. Oh, Crystal Pounds, you are so dang close. You have 566 in or something. Okay, get to that 600. All right, the goal, 1666. Don't give up on that goal. Be tracking your weekly sales of 833. Track it, track it, track it. Look at me. Heidi Gelzer knows these numbers. Over 4,500 by the 15th is Nikki Hill at 7187. She's the only one over that line. We've got people over 1,000 getting a paycheck. That's exciting on the first. Over 2,000, over 3,000, over 4,000, but Nikki's the only one over 5,000 with 7187. Unit size, sisters, unit size matters. Okay, I am done. And so, Mary McIntosh, I've got you scheduled to go first. Give me a nod if that's good for you. All right, so Mary, unmute yourself, and here you go to talk about With Passion, your chapters 3 and 4. And guys, if you can each keep your segments to 5 minutes, that would be fantastic. All right, Mary, go ahead.
Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. We're good? Everything's working? Okay, awesome. Awesome. So chapters 3 and 4 of the Mary Kay Way, the invisible sign is chapter 3. What stuck out to me so much was that Mary Kay always said she responded immediately when she saw someone new, to respond immediately to the sign that says, make me feel important. And I thought that that was interesting because I'm kind of a warm-up kind of person. You know, I will kind of survey the room or whatever and kind of see what's going on, and then I can kind of get into that conversation with somebody. But I love how she says it works wonders to respond immediately to making people feel important. So, you know, my goal is to do that faster when people are in the room. But that you have to take time to do it. Isn't that true? That we really have to take time. This was so good to you have got to be honestly convinced that every human being is important. And what I noticed about this and about different people in my life and in Mary Kay is that sometimes we're really good at faking it. And there are some things in Mary Kay that we have to fake, like maybe confidence sometimes to be able to do the things we need to do. But this is something that we have got to get really good at so that we're not faking it anymore. Being honestly convinced that every human being is important, no matter what's going on in our lives, that we're taking the time to zero back in and say, I know that you're important, and I want to give you my attention and have you feel that right now. Because as Mary Kay said, we know this, but we forget to apply it. This is good too. If you're money motivated or if you're success motivated or achievement motivated, making people feel important is precisely what a leader is paid for. Because when you make people feel important, it motivates them to do better work. So if you want to get paid more, then you need to start really making people genuinely, sincerely feel important from your guts. My experience is that people generally do what you ask them to do. So there are 3 ways. How do we make people feel important? Mary Kay said first by listening to them. Listening to them. Because it gives people respect. It shows them you're respecting them. And it allows, also, she said, let people voice their opinions. And isn't that so important? Because it gives them this great sense of importance. And she said, when you do that, your level of energy skyrockets. How many of you would love to have an energetic unit with an energetic leader? Then get really good at making people feel important. Not just saying the words at unit meetings that get everybody excited, but making each individual feel like she matters there. Number 2, Mary Kay said, give responsibility. That's another way we make people feel important. Give responsibility with authority. Because if you give responsibility without the authority, then that hurts their self-esteem. Well, she doesn't really trust me enough to do that, you know. So if you're going to give a responsibility, then make sure that you can back it with your authority. Otherwise, don't give it. yeah, that makes people feel really important. Being in charge of stuff at the unit meetings or at the whatever. You know, you guys are so creative. You're so smart. And all of you amazing women have taught me a lot about giving responsibility with your authority. So I know that you know how to do that. So just bring that to conscious level and start doing that more often so that you can make people feel important. It'll raise your paycheck and your unit's energy. Remember, we just talked about that. And the number 3 way that Mary Kay said is to let people know you appreciate them. That's another way to make them feel important. I love that she said, I recommend that you frequently let your people know how much you appreciate them. And I starred and underlined and highlighted the word frequently because I know I do that, but how frequent do I do that? And that's something that I want to get better at. Even if it's only showing up for work on time, let the person know that you value punctuality. Okay, we're finding things. We're finding things. But I think that, you know, I was reading my Bible lesson this morning, and I'm in Romans, and I really feel like a lot of times we can't or have problems showing people or letting them know that we appreciate them because we have resentment in our hearts about them and about maybe the work that they're not doing and the potential that they have that they're not living up to. And so what we have to do is receive that grace. We have to remember that God gives us grace for the times that we're not the person that we want to be. And we've got to extend that grace to other people. And when we do that, we can be sincere about the way we appreciate them. Mary Kay says there has to be something to appreciate in every person. Don't keep it a secret. Don't keep it a secret. So, okay, that is letting people, the invisible sign. Chapter 4 was praising people to success. And I love this first part because you know how we always have people say, how do I motivate my team? How do I motivate my unit? Her very first sentence, I believe praise. Praise is the best way to motivate a unit. So if you're really praising your unit appropriately and they're not performing, then there's nothing else you can do. That's just what I think. There's just nothing else you can do. Would you move on and let them decide to run their businesses how they want? So number 1, you can praise people with little successes because that paves the way to bigger successes. And I love how she talks about we even do that at our very first party. So we're doing it with our customers. From the very beginning, people know that Mary Kay praised people to success and with those little bitty things. People ask for your criticism, but they only want your praise. That's all that they want. So make sure that you're sandwiching all of your criticism and get good at sandwiching criticism. Make your criticism never sound like criticism. I think Mary Kay was good at that because even when she was criticizing, people took it to heart. They never took it offensive. And the second way is by applause. Applause. And well, I do want to say that I love, she says, I sincerely believe that a 40-cent gift given with $100 worth of recognition is 1,000 times more effective than a $100 gift in a dollar box given with 40 cents of recognition. It doesn't matter what you're given. I've had awesome examples of this at my temple meetings with my adopted directors. I don't even care. It's like the smallest little gift, but the way they make you feel when they give it to you makes all the difference. So make sure you're getting really good at that. So number 2, we praise people to success with applause. She says that's a powerful form of praise. Don't discount that. Make sure that you're being silly with how many times you applaud people. It makes a difference in the way they feel when they leave your space. And number 3, as much as possible. Have you ever noticed how wonderful the Applause magazine is when your name's in it? And it's not quite as interesting when your name's not in there. And I love that Mary Kay knew that. So that the number 1 purpose of publicizing people is really for recognition. Yes, it's information. Yes, it's education. Yes, it's inspiration. But let it always be about recognizing your people. And I think if we can really do these from our hearts without any kind of barriers in there, we're really going to see our unit members develop into these fabulous people, whether or not they stay in Mary Kay forever. And it's really going to have an impact on them. So let's get really good at those things. I'm done.
Thank you, Mary McIntosh. What are you loving the most about going back to these Mary Kay truths? Just, in one sentence or so, what would you say is really impacting you the most as you're rereading this book?
Simplicity. Not hard. And we try to like make it really complicated or that there's some really deeper meaning to it. But if we'll just do the simple part of what she's saying, we're going to get a lot of bang for our buck.
I think, Mary, when I was talking to women last night who went to the Linda Toupin event, they too said the same thing. Keep it simple. We overcomplicate, we overthink. And you know what? Love people. Love people and work. And that's what we do. So thank you. I always love how you dissect something and you really apply it to our lives and not just use it as something that we're reading, but applying it to our lives as leaders in this company. So thank you, Mary McIntosh. All right, we're going to Tammy Clout next. She says she's ready to go. Here we go, Tam.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Okay, so Noah, I'm on the video, buddy. Yes, I have the nummy. Okay, sorry. My 3-year-old likes to steal the baby's nook. So what I did, you guys, from the Linda Toupin event, yep, I threw him a nook. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. From the Linda Toupin event, I really enjoyed it. I was not overwhelmed. I was not tired after it, and I was very strategic with my time when I went to the event. So during the time we had like lunch breaks and dinner breaks, and I knew exactly what the schedule was going to be, and I was paying for a hotel room, and so I was going to be away from my family. So during the lunch break, Jamie Riley and we went and got 5 new leads of quality people in the area. And the next day I had booked one of my customers who works at one of my consultants at a daycare to go and visit her, and we handed out roses to all of the mothers and to all of the people who work there. And then on my way home I had 2 consultants booked to share with them the new products. And I think what Linda really taught me as well was to love on my people and to listen to them and build heartfelt relationships with them even more. And the student is ready, the student is ready when the teacher appears, whatever that saying is. But I just know that I was willing to listen and hear what things we were doing great and what things just needed to be tweaked or words. So just going back to, it's my face that my unit needs to see. Whether that's new consultant trainings, live in person is the best, and phone calls and everything. So building that confidence, what Linda talked about was build your confidence and use other people until your confidence is where you need it to be that face for your unit, because you're building your organization. So even some of the things that we've already implemented for this new year with going back to my own unit phone calls or Zoom hangouts on Sunday nights just to get in their space. And you too can be a top sales director in Mary Kay and have nobody show up on Monday night to success night. But Tricia and I made the best of it, and we made I made physical phone calls and people answered, and I coached hostesses. I don't really know the last time I talked to people and coached hostesses, but I had great conversations with people and booked 3 new parties last night instead. What I wanted to share with everybody really quickly is just what to do with a new recruit if you only have 24 hours in their space. And so I think this will be extremely helpful for everybody. And so just 5 key things, and Linda asked us what 5 things that we thought we should do with a new recruit. And I was kind of close, but not as much as in the fellowship close and the doing the action as close as she was talking about. So say you're traveling to somebody, whether they're an hour away, 24 hours away, or they're in Florida or Alaska, whatever it might be, but really taking advantage of your 24 hours that you have and really setting them up for success as if they're never going to be in a Mary Kay training space again. So number 1, when you arrive, is to spend time in fellowship with her and her family to develop relationships. Not even talking about Mary Kay. Having dinner with the family, to get to know her family and document her family in your physical phone. And you're going to learn more about a woman in those 2 hours than, by going to her home than by coming to a lifetime of unit meetings. So just building that relationship with the family. The second one is doing a business debut to meet her wide circle of influence, and really coaching people on having 150 people on their contact list, because that's the average invites that people send to families for a wedding, and not setting her up for failure by only allowing her to like create 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 people on her contact list, but also reassuring her that all she needs is the power of one person who has skin. So what I think something that I've been doing is just, I think I've been working in desperation and trying to just do a debut with everybody who's not even willing to work, and just trying to get in measly 600s when that really doesn't build their business. It doesn't really build our business. But going back to debuting product. Oh my goodness. I used to tell them, I only do debuts when you come in with a star order or higher. That's what I used to do, and I don't know why I stopped, and I don't know why I started doing debuts for people who have nothing. And Linda reassured us that, guys, a debut is to debut product. It's a grand opening. When people have a store, when people have a grand opening at a store, it is to debut their inventory. Okay, and if people cannot come in with a star order, then we coach them to do a power start. Coach them to do a power start. Isn't that great? Yeah, I totally love it. And because I'm not going to keep calling those 2 new recruits that I had from a month or 2 months ago to try to book their debut, because they're not even going to do anything. Okay, so that's the biggest thing, you guys, is do a business debut of a full store, and to not just helping some chick sell $600 to get a $600 order. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to meet the most important people in her life. So it's all about the coaching process of her inviting 75 people, her having 4 contacts, and coaching the consultant so great so that she can get 10, 15, 20 people there, so that you can become friends with her mama and her sister and her best friends, and then they know who you are, they respect you, they respect her as a business owner. That's the whole point of a debut. I'm not going to get into the details of a debut, but just building that trust. And also me being the servant at the end, and I'm serving the food, and I'm serving the drinks, and building those relationships with people. And yeah, so getting them on board, and having a goal poster at her debut as well. The third thing that I would do within 24 hours is a skincare class. So she can physically see, have her videotape it so that she can watch it. Okay, sorry. Have her videotape it so that she can watch it over and over again, and do that party with her top 5 prospects. I think that is great. And then number 4 is do, interviews of 1 to 3 of those prospective recruits in person, coffee dates, whatever it might be. And then number 5 is work in her office with her office systems to help her get some of those key things in place. So just one of the things that are covered in those 5 key areas, you guys, you're showing her how to pack for a class. Okay, so you're going to show her how to dazzle the table setting, and how to get her starter kit all set and ready so she's organized and not looking like a bag lady. You're going to tell her to get a beauty coat, and I even started doing this, calling it my lab coat, that I look professional, and you probably think that I probably know what I'm doing. So wearing your beauty coat or your lab coat, because people will trust you. Convince someone in her life to buy her those inventory cases. I've had lots of people get those inventory cases for their birthday or for Christmas, so that way they're not wondering, what the heck do I put my product in, because it does fit at least a 2,400 in, if not more. You're also showing her how to do the open and close of a party, how to turn 1 person into 5 people into 25 people. We know how to do that. We don't have to buy a special CD from Linda for that, because it's exactly what we do at all of our parties. But you show her the set sheets, the hostess packets, recruiting packets, how to do an interview, how to do bookings, how to do the weekly accomplishment sheet. You guys, we need to get back to doing the weekly accomplishment sheet and not just praising people for their wholesale orders. Okay, showing her how to do sales tickets, tax recording systems, inventory management, doing the spiral notebook of the focus notebook, showing her how to physically do that. And you guys, what we are weak in is what we are breeding. So if this obviously this is what I was weak in, not setting people up for success. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys, is the 5 key things to really focus on within 24 hours if that's the only time span that you have with a consultant, and debuting full sports. So that's what I wanted to share, Heidi.
Thanks, Tammy, and thank you for being honest about that thought process about debuts. We debut a store. And I'm not the only one who's been doing that, and so it just needed to be brought to conscious level that, hey, okay, and I'm going to bring this up right here, and I know we're just going to go to 9:30 this morning, guys. If you can't watch the whole thing, you're just going to have to check. But, guys, I was talking with a director yesterday, and, you know, like Linda said, Tammy, we hear all of these stories at seminar about she started with nothing, and then she went on and became $1 million director, which is inspiring, and we love it, but we think that's normal. And so, you know, Brittany Capps was here in Wisconsin, and a lot of you know her story, that she was found at a crazy party. And so what we do is we hold parties for people without inventory because we think we might find a Brittany Capps. But you guys, that's one literally in 1 million. If you look at the numbers of how many consultants there are in the world and how many national sales directors there are, that's not in the bell curve. And I think someone else will talk about that. And so we can't go do these parties for people, these debuts without inventory, hoping we're going to find a Brittany Capps, because that is not really what 2 times even just that. And I figured out the numbers on that yesterday. If she's not your personal, you guys, you make $29. $29. $29. Your time is well worth more than $10 an hour, my friends. And we need to start thinking like business women. We will love them all. Like Mary Kay always said, and Mary brought us back to, we will love people unconditionally, but our time is not. And we are not desperate. And so sometimes we think, oh, if I don't have my own party, I might as well go do this person's debut, right, Tam? Even if she doesn't have any product. That's how we logically think. When really, we should go out there and be meeting quality women if we have time in our schedule. Setting up our own parties, talking to people about referrals from women of influence, using our time wisely instead of being desperate. So thank you for just sharing with everybody what we've all been doing. But when they hear that you're doing it too, I think we all go, okay, we're not the only ones. Now we can change. I'm excited about change. Thanks, Tam. All right, we are going to go to Brandy. Brandy, you ready?
I am.
All right, rock it out, sister.
My stopwatch is going. Okay, so I'm going to send a picture of this because you probably can't see it super well, so don't freak out. It will be in your Voxer in just a second when I'm done. So she talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and so at the bottom, if you've heard about this, it's awesome. I heard about it in psychology, and then she brought it back up, and it like blew my mind. I seriously was like shocked. So every single morning you start at the bottom of this pyramid, and that is physical needs. So you need like air, sleep, water, food. So you wake up in the morning, you pee, you grab a cup of coffee, you have some breakfast. That need is taken care of. The next need on this little thingy bob is safety and security. And she spent a lot of time in this box. And so when you're not feeling safe and secure, you're stuck there. You're literally stuck in that box. And so she was talking about it's like a really long story, but she took out a credit card to like pay for her daughter's birth or something, and then she took out another one to like pay back and forth, and she ended up going like $20,000 in debt over like 9, 10, 12 months, and it was very stressful, and her husband didn't know. And so for that like 9 to 12 months, she was stuck in safety and security. Like every single morning she was terrified because she had all of this debt and she had no idea where she was going to pay for it, and she was just going under. And so her business, like she lost directors, she lost car drivers, and her paycheck went down a ton in that year. And so so she was talking to us about when you're stuck in this safety and security need, you cannot go further. The next need up is love and acceptance. And again, you'll get this in just a second. Love and acceptance. And then the next one up is esteem. Esteem is where you're rocking out your Mary Kay business. So like esteem needs is like when you're feeling confident and stuff is coming into you and you're taking it as confidence. And then the last box, the top of the pyramid, is self-actualization. And that is when you like absolutely know in your core how amazing you are and how awesome your life is and that you can do anything. And so, and I might be explaining this in my terms, but this is how I took it. So the esteem needs is where we work our business, like in our joy spot. But if you are not getting past that safety and insecurity and then the love and acceptance, you're not going to be able to get to that esteem need to really work your business as well as you should. And so she walked us through a couple of different examples on how you can look at safety and security needs every single day in who you're talking to and even in yourself. This is really taken me this whole weekend. I really was processing this with my husband and about our safety and security needs of, I haven't been working in my joy zone the last couple of months because I've been a little fearful of our house being in chaos from remodeling and then being a new mom and running my business. And so I've been stuck in this safety and security. So I have not been rocking it out because I haven't been able to realize that I was stuck in there and that I was working with no joy. So I'm going to give you some examples on how you can look at this, and then if you want to research this more, you can, because I'm at 3 minutes and 12 seconds. So when you're with potential new, this is so brilliant. Okay, so if you are bringing a guest to a meeting, she said you pick them up, you feed them, and you tell them what to wear, because then her safety and security needs are taken care of. She feels safe. She's excited to go to the meeting. She's not going to show up in yoga pants and a sweatshirt. And when she knew, she could have been told, hey, dress nicely. Everyone's going to dress nicely. I just want you to understand that so you don't feel uncomfortable. Women love that. Seriously, you text all your friends oh my gosh, what are you wearing to the wedding? You need to know what they're wearing. So, and then a brilliant question when working with a potential new as well is if you're in the career chatting process and she's an 8 or a 9 and you just are kind of I don't know what to get you to the next step, you ask her, would it help if I were to show you what the next 24 to 48 hours will look like? Would it help if I were to share with you what would the next 24 to 48 hours look like? Which is so brilliant because you're telling her you have the new consultant packet. You tell her that she's going to have going through the inventory options, and you just let her know we're going to make a wedding list of 150 people, everything that she's going to do so she's not panicked. So just amazing. And then I have 2 more things to share with this. With a hostess, I took it as let them know what's in it for her. Have her fully understand, save the food till the end. We just need a kitchen table. Fully explain what she needs so she's not thinking day of oh my gosh, what does this Mary Kay chick need from me? What do I need to do? And then she cancels because she's freaking out. And then with team members, she said if Gloria Mayfield Banks were to ask her to pass out 5 business cards, she would lose it. That is pushing her out of her safety and security needs. So really talking with your consultants and understanding where their comfort zone is in a good way, and so you're not pushing them out of their safety and security so they're freaking out and shutting down. So I will take a picture of this and post it in the Voxer group, but it was really brilliant, and if you take it and apply it to everything in your business, it really makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. And you had some really huge self-actualization thoughts as you were processing this and going, wait a minute, this is the problem right here. I'm not feeling safe and secure. And you guys, how many of us have been there in our businesses, and how many of our consultants are feeling that way? And just that last thing that you said about what's happening within 24 to 48 hours, I didn't hear that for some reason. Brilliant. And because that takes away their fear. I love it. And then with the hostesses, you guys, we've got to get back to communicating. When I held a party for somebody for a different company, they didn't tell me anything. And I'm a very confident person now. And I was freaking out. I'm like, will you tell me what's going on? Sometimes we think we're bothering people. We need to stop thinking about ourselves and are we bothering someone, and think, no, the golden rule, how would I want to be treated? I want to know what's going on. So Brandy, I think it's so much about getting out of ourselves, figuring it out where we are in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and then going to serve others. Brilliant. And thanks for driving the 1,000,000 hours to be here. And you guys saw that she got to have lunch with Linda and Sue and me. Pay the price to be in the presence of powerful people. You might get a surprise lunch that day. All right, here we go. Let's go to Karis.
Hey, can you guys see me and hear me? Yes? Okay, perfect. So I love the Linda Tupin event. I went into it thinking that it was going to be awful and that the training is going to be so boring. I was going to be so overwhelmed because I don't like training. I don't like training classes very much. But I came with an open mind, just ready to learn and just accept all that she was going to tell me. And I was not overwhelmed, and I learned so much. She was such a great trainer. And the one thing I really took away from it, well, a lot of things that I changed my business just that day from hearing it. But one really awesome thing was we in the room, there was 70 to 80% of all the sales directors were either D or I or ID personalities. And she was like, with your personality, that's outside of the norm. So most of your consultants are not like you. They're not going to figure it out. And so when I have new consultants and they wouldn't grab on to Mary Kay right away and just do it and do a party and just figure out how to do it, I would kind of be like, okay, they're not going to do it. That's fine. Put them to the wayside. But they just need to be taught specifically what to do. It might seem so simple to us because we're confident and we have these personalities that just figure it out. We just make it happen. But most consultants don't know, and they won't figure it out. And if they have a party tonight and they don't know where their kid is, they can't find their mirrors or their trays, their kids are screaming, they go to a party and this is way too hard, I'm going to quit. So people aren't like us, and they're not going to just figure it out because they know it's worth it. They're going to just give up. So I really took to heart with my whole goal for this year is praying for more compassion to have on other people, and that this kind of went in line. Everything Linda said was about loving people, all the systems she has in place, just to show them love, that they're important to her and her organization, no matter what they're doing in their business. And so just really taking the time to train new consultants thoroughly. Don't just give them the videos and say, come to success nights. You have to literally walk them step by step on, here's your kit, what's in it, how do I get ready for a party, what do I put in the trays. They won't figure it out if it's too hard, and they're just going to give up and quit if they don't have that go-getter attitude. And so I've had to bring my personality to meet other people's different personalities, because they're still important to me. Like Mary was saying from our book earlier today, make them feel important. And that was the whole theme of Linda's training, was to make everyone feel important, whether it's a brand new consultant who needs to know what goes in bubble number 1 in my mirror, or if it's someone that just wants to recruit 10 people in 1 month. You have to make every single person feel important. And another thing I kind of took away for the new consultants is if the heart connection is not with you as their leader and mentor, you're going to lose your leadership. So that means if you're sending people to watch someone else's inventory video, someone else's inventory call, someone else's fast fun facts, someone else's training videos, they're not making that connection with you. It's with somebody else. So she gave us ideas in your welcome email, make a short 5-minute YouTube iStory just about yourself. If you're not super confident in sharing the whole marketing plan, on a fast fun facts or video, that's totally fine. Just have them make that connection with you. Like Tammy said, until you gain your confidence, you can use other people's voice, but it's way not as powerful as your own. So get confident so that you can start sharing all these things in your own voice and your own face, because you are the leader, you are the mentor, and they will respect you and trust you and follow you more if they have you as the figure they look to for information, for training, for inspiration, for everything. Because just we're kind of Tammy said, you have your own unit calls now. Our star parties are your own unit. We want to make sure that you are the leader and the head, and they see your voice and make that heart connection with you. So there are so many other things that I learned and took away. All these things these ladies talked about was amazing, but my big thing was just meeting people where they're at and take the time to be that leader of your unit so they see you and they hear you training them step by step along the way.
I loved how you shared that, Karis, that you loved the training and you were not so excited to go, right? Because that your fun and pleasure. And so sitting in a classroom all day. But wow, she was just so amazing. Her communication skills are so awesome, and she spoke from the heart. And so she really was able to communicate everything with us without us, like you said, being bored or tired or things like that. And one thing you said about your own voice, here's my deal, you guys. With new consultant training, new consultant orientation, there are videos on the website. But in my opinion, like you said, Karis, it's our job to train them individual at New Consultant Training. We train our people, and then we use those videos to reinforce it. Like if I'm training someone on coaching and then months later their coaching isn't working, I would say, hey, go back to the video on coaching. Watch that and let me know. As I was building my organization, everything I did was in person if possible, but we didn't have video stuff, so I did CDs. The CDs did not take the place of New Consultant Training. They were reinforcements of it. And so, you guys, I took Linda Tupin's inventory line and just put it into my own voice. I just took notes on it and put it into my own voice. You can do that same thing. You can take that inventory line and put it into your own voice if that's what you want to do. But yes, having our voice in front of our people, your voice in front of your people is so important. And like you said, Karis, we're not the norm. Not everyone's going to figure it out. Most people are not going to figure it out. And so that was powerful. Every illustration she did was like powerful. All right, thank you. All right, Kate, your turn.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I have a couple of repeats that I think they're worth repeating because I found that they were so important. And one of the illustrations that she used was the bell curve. And I don't think anybody referenced this quite yet, but the bell curve, if you cannot picture it, it's literally shaped like a bell. And everything outside of the bell on the chart are outliers. And so that's what Heidi was talking about, like the Brittany Caps and people who are, you know, ready right now and doing things very quickly and maybe earning their car in a month or becoming a director in a month, things like that. Those are outliers. And then everything within the bell curve are the masses in your unit and in your customer base, things like that. And so she said 97% of people are waiting on a checklist. So 97% of the women and the people in your unit are waiting on that checklist. 3% of them are actually ready right now. And that ready right now could mean a whole host of things. Even what Karis was just saying, it could just be the go-getters who make their 150-person wedding list or who get a facial box out there if they're brand new in their community. Only 3% are actually going to act on those things without being told. The rest of them are waiting for you to tell them what to do and on that checklist. And so you must be intentional with them to build those relationships. Like Tammy talked about, having that fellowship, asking questions at the debut party, meeting their family, asking the husband and the children to stay and wait for you to get there so you can take a picture. The one thing that I thought was very impressive at this boot camp was that Linda did a very wonderful job at documenting her life in Mary Kay, and she brought that in very appropriate times in her training. And so it gave you that warm and fuzzy feeling about the company and the business and her journey, and it inspired you to want to do that too and want to experience those things too. That's how I felt when I was watching her slideshow at the beginning. I thought, that's so cool. She has pictures of her as a teacher and her as you know, a brand new consultant. Like, how many people get to have their picture taken with their starter kit and then they become a national and you have that photo of your first day in Mary Kay with your grand debut, debuting your inventory to your customer base. And so having those fellowship times, not necessarily talking about Mary Kay, but just getting to know one another and building that trust and likability. Nikki Hill talked about that too, having trust and likability with people. And so she says, if you want to have credibility, you need to teach people how to sell the product. And that was another thing that she was very firm about with us in this boot camp, is that you should live your life like a consultant. At different times in your business, you will need to be able to do that. And if you can show your consultants that you can pay your bills and support your family on your product sales, they will feel confident following you and learning from you. And a great segue from what Karis just talked about, when you're training them, it's your voice. It's not somebody else, so they have that deep and meaningful connection to you. And the same thing is true at your meetings. She says, when there are 2 leaders in a room, there is still only 1 leader. And so when you have your, your success night and your meetings, She was also very firm about using your meetings as that, calling it something fun. Don't get it twisted about, the corporate world. They don't want to be in meetings all day long and then come to success night or your sales meeting. She said, be intentional with calling it a success night or a recognition night or a girls' night out, something like that, and to pour into your consultants at that time. Not to intentionally bring guests into that meeting, because your consultants might feel like, what about me? This is, our night to get recognition, or my night to be with the director, or, to get training, things like that. And so she was just very firm about your meeting should be about pouring into your consultants, and your guest event is the skincare class. And last night we did have a guest event, and it was all about the guests. It was all about their ability to learn about the new products and try it out and feel it and get prizes and things like that. And then I'm just going to wrap up with this. I totally loved this when she did this. She was giving us an example of what she would share at as a director when you're giving making birthday calls or anniversary calls to your consultants. And it was literally like she channeled this piece of her, and she kind of closed her eyes and she's just like, I have to think about the person that I'm talking to. And she gave us an example of what she would say when she calls one of her consultants on their anniversary. And she said she always makes a phone call. And a little tip that she gave us is there's an app called Sly Dial, S-L-Y Dial. And it will kick you right into their voicemail, and that way they have documentation of the call, so they can go back and listen to it again. It won't get buried in Voxer or anything like that. They can save it. And so she was, if you had heard her Voxer a couple of weeks ago about calling your customers and really sharing your heart with them when you're booking them, and not just being a canned script, but really putting your heart in and saying, hey, let's get some ice cream afterwards, or let's grab coffee beforehand and, catch up and then go to this event together and see the new product and really pour into them. She was doing the same thing with her consultant, and there was one piece that I just thought was really cool, because if you're calling a consultant and it's their anniversary and maybe they only place like one order once a year, but they became a consultant and you really love them, you describe how you love them. You describe that time where you met and what she was wearing and what it smelled like, and really create those sensory those sensory feelings with them when you're talking. And she said in this call, at the end before she hung up, she said, if you're ever sitting with your bills and thinking that someone in your house needs to pick up a part-time job, before you go out and do that, please give me a call. I would love to sit down and talk to you about how you can make this Mary Kay business a business for your family and a legitimate income for your family. And so I love that, because she also gave us an example of what she would share with somebody that she doesn't know very well, and still affirming them for what they're doing with the unit, but then what that they still have this opportunity with her to get together with her, and she just painted a really beautiful picture. And so I just loved how she did that.
Thank you, Kate. I'm going now. Okay. I loved that bell curve is so important to know that, and to work. Mary Kay used to always say we work with the rule, not the exception. She didn't necessarily call it the bell curve, but she called it the rule, not the exception. And we need to remember that the exceptions will just show up. And I loved also what you said about paying our mortgage on our sales. She talked about paying our mortgage on our sales and being able to teach people. Our recruiting will skyrocket when we are selling that much product, because we know this business works and we can teach them. And then I love the slide dial as well. It's not to trick people. It's so that they can have that message, so that they can savor that, so you can think about it and really leave them the words you want to leave them. I love it. Thank you. All right, we're going to Becky. Becky Clements, are you ready?
Yes, I'm here. All right. Am I on? Am I good? Okay. Well, a lot was said that I was going to touch on, so I'm just going to touch on a few things that I really enjoyed as well. One of the things that she really drilled home too for us was tracking. I haven't been the best tracker over the last couple months, and that is one thing that I'm going to go back to. And one of the trackers that she showed us that I absolutely loved was this one. I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but it's going back to your reports and looking at how everybody's ordering the I'm lost for the word, their patterns of ordering per your consultants, and putting them in these blocks to see, are they going to order this month, or is this a month that they're not ordering? And it gave me a very big aha, like, okay, these are the other things that I need to be working on, because this is the pattern that's going to be happening in the month of August. So that was huge. This is a huge tracker for me. And, you know, just going back to tracking your phone calls and tracking your orders and weekly plan sheets. I used to do those, and I don't know why I stopped. So I'm like, okay, we need to go to the weekly plan sheets and just, you know, get a better visual of what is going on in your business. I loved what Tammy shared too about the 5 things in the 24 hours. Like, that's so huge, so huge. And then also, every woman in your system has 150 referrals. That's amazing, amazing. And one of the things that she said when you're talking about referrals and doing the referral game at your parties or anything like this, I loved her language when she said this, because it was about safety and security for everybody. Write down 30 faces you would love to tell them about Ashley and share Ashley with them. Not just saying, you know, write down 30 people you know, ready, set, go. It was write down people that you would love for Ashley to get to know, personal, on a, you know, a good level. So I loved that, because it was so much deeper than, you know, just write down faces you know. And I think that's about, I mean, a lot of the things that everybody already shared are like huge ahas that I had, but those are the little tidbit extras that I really took away.
Becky, as a new director, you know, I kind of had to convince you to go, you know, because we have new directors, we have expenses, we got all that kind of stuff. Would you tell the world, if Linda Tupin comes to them, it is worth it?
Oh my goodness, it is so
worth it.
So worth it. Yeah, it was huge. It was huge just to see how she explained things, and it was how she explained it too. I didn't feel exhausted after the day of being with her.
That's what everyone says. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when you're in trainings all day, you're so antsy, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is going on forever, but it's important. And it was like you were on the edge of your seat, kind of wanting to know more from her, and it was filling you up in such a different way. It was amazing. She was so stinking good.
So now I think our thought process, you guys, for those of us who went, is to analyze what she did and to really think, how come we're not exhausted listening to her, so that we can take that and be better teachers ourselves. So, you know, we don't have time to analyze that at the moment, but seriously, you guys, I want you to think about that. What made her that good? See, when you go as a leader to go to training, you don't just go to hear what the leader says. You go to analyze how she says it. So I want you to think about that, you guys, and then, you know, come back to me about that, and we can, you know, maybe, so then we can teach our friends and ourselves how we can be great trainers, and people are on the edge of their seats, and they want more, and they're not exhausted. A couple of you have said that, so that's huge. That's huge. All right, and also, could you take a picture of that sheet and put that on the Diamond Circle Boxer as well, please? That tracking sheet of the 16,000, Becky?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, awesome. All right, Tracy, let's wrap it up, sister.
All right, everybody. You know, and we haven't even touched on her guest event. Her guest event was tremendous, and I'm actually not going to take the time to recap that for you. But as Becky was saying, with all three, the guest event and the 2 days of boot camp, I did not want it to end. I could have sat there and listened to her forever. I really felt like I was at the feet of Mary Kay. So what I wanted to share with you is that for the past 12 months, we have not hit our wholesale production unit goal. 12 months, okay? So I don't know if you can imagine setting a goal for your organization and then not reaching it. And then another month goes by and you don't reach it again. And another month goes by and you don't reach it again. And then on top of that, also having a career path goal. Like if you do not have an offspring yet, that your goal is to be a senior director. Or if you have one, your next level would be a future executive. So I'm going to pull this all together for you with what Becky Clements just showed you with that tracker. So she brought up our reports and showed us how we project our wholesale. And I already knew what my 12-month average was based on, the unit analysis summary. And so it was interesting because she actually had us print out every single consultant with their 6-month ordering pattern. And we were going to take 5 minutes and write down specifically a name with a ordering pattern number after it. And so when I did that, I realized we were $8,000 wholesale short of the goal. And I thought, well, I knew that, but did I really know that? And so I realized that for the past 12 months, what I have done to try to compensate for the lack or missing production, I've done 3 things. Number 1, I decided to hold more guest events. More guest events with the same amount of guests. So if you're following me, what I would do is I would take my calendar and I would put more guest events on there. We're going to have more because then we'll have more people there, right? No, we still have the same amount of consultants showing up with not any more guests. So then I would say to myself, oh, well, I'm not having them in the right location. So then I would take my guest events and expand them and have even more guest events in different locations, thinking that was the answer. And then because I was thinking to myself, okay, I need to be at the next level of if I'm a senior sales director, I need to be a future executive, or I need to have 2 DIQs by the next Mary Kay function. I would say, okay, who's ready to rock and roll? And I would just pour myself into that person that had said, yes, I want to be a DIQ. And so I have to thank Heidi, because sometimes after a function, it is so important to kind of decompress the information with your national sales director. And so the other thing that I did, besides having more guest events in a variety of locations, and then pouring myself even more into my people, is Heidi was like, well, how did that work for you? She was just very direct. And it was like, well, obviously that for the past 12 months did not work at all, because I said I just wanted to make sure my people felt loved. So I pour myself into my people. And she said, well, you're pouring yourself into your people. That did not change your production. And I was like, yeah, I guess that did not. And so I think in my head, since we had 100 people in our organization, I thought there is for sure a leader in there, and I'm going to find her. I don't know if any of you are following me and you kind of know what I'm talking about. But everything that I could have been doing to find a new leader is exactly what I was not doing, because I was in the mode of finding the leader through my people, or taking a person that was in my organization and attempting to build her up. And so exactly what Heidi said at the beginning of the call was, how much do I get paid to do a business debut with someone that does not come in with inventory? What did we say that was? Like $29? When I know that I can sell per face $129 per person, I could have been out there paying my mortgage and building my own confidence and then showing that to my people or my new people. So this was just tremendous for me personally. And I guess I'll just wrap it up with the whole fact versus feeling concept. Just as a feeling person, you know, I kept telling myself that pouring myself into my people and making them feel loved was exactly what had to happen and exactly what they needed from me. And, you know, Heidi just reminded me last night that that is a question that needs to be used. Is this a fact or is this a feeling? And I think I've pretty much run my business on feeling for the past 12 months, and that was just an eye-opener for me. So, Heidi, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Is that a fact or a feeling? That's huge, because she asked that question at the beginning of the event. She said, how many of you are feelers? How many of you are thinkers? She's like, most of you are feelers, but most of the time you need to think in your business. And there's a time to feel, like we talked about at a guest event. You're pouring out your passion and your emotion. You're listening to your consultants. But there's a time to think, you guys. There's a time to think and work as business women and just be true to ourselves, to truly keep God first, family second, career third. And you know what? Sometimes you need someone new to come in. You need Linda Tupin to come in and shake things up, because we knew a lot of the stuff that she was training us on. We knew it, but we had let ourselves, and myself included, get into bad habits and get into too much feeling instead of fact. And really know that we can teach our people how to make money. That's the most important thing we can do, is lead by example. And, you know, I'm going to end with this. And I know this has been a super long thing, but I think it's important. You know, my national sales director, I talked with Tracy and Kay about this last night, Joanne Cunnington, she used to say, when a person calls you with a crisis on a phone call and you listen to the voicemail, she said, you don't respond for 24 hours. You let them figure it out, and then you call them back in 24 hours. And by that time, you guys, seriously, 99% of them have figured out their own issues, and you don't have to be their counselor. Who's excited about that? But Voxer has changed things. And we think that when we get a message on Voxer, because they see that we have listened to it, that we need to respond immediately or they're going to freak out. And they might. And they might freak out. So what I do with this form of communication is, I'm learning to do this better, is to, if I listen to a little bit and they're freaking out about, there's no emergencies in Mary Kay. It's like, if it's like her husband isn't dying and she's freaking out about something else, I'm going to listen to about 5 seconds, you guys, and I'm not going to respond. And I'm going to text her back and say, Tracy, didn't have time to listen to your whole message. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Because even if you listen to part of the message, it shows them that they've listened to the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And so they're wondering why you're not getting back with them. Okay? And so you guys, and by the time you Voxer call them back, what I'm finding is they're fine. They figured it out. But Tracy, we had that conversation, how that was making you feel good. When you would return their Voxers immediately with their crises, that you would help them through it, and they would go, you were the best director ever, and you would feel good. But you're emotionally drained, you're physically drained, and ain't nobody working. Okay, you guys? And so really to understand this and to use old school Mary Kay with new school technology. Holy cow, one of the, oh, that was good. Use old school Mary Kay with new school technology. Try to figure that out. That's the key. Guys, this was amazing. Amazing. We pray that this has blessed you. I'm excited for today. And remember, nothing matters less than the score at halftime except your head. Except your head. The numbers don't matter, the facts don't matter, but your head matters. Are you willing to get your head in the game and get out there and lead by example, because you know what we need to do? We need to work personally to lead our teams. Woo! It's going to be an audacious August. Just make it happen, girls. Make it happen. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.